Hey, what's up? Hello, how is it going, everyone? My name is Matt. With me is Dylan, and today we're going to be talking about M3GAN, M3GAN, January horror movie from the writer of *Malignant*, one that's been getting a lot of hype. So let's dive right into *M3GAN*. So *M3GAN*, it's a film about a girl who loses her parents. She moves in with her aunt, who's a toy maker. And the aunt ends up making a robot assistant for the young girl called *M3GAN. And this is an AI who ends up becoming like a Chucky-esque killer doll. Mm-hmm. I liked this a lot more than you did, Dylan. I'm going to say that right now.
Yeah, which I guess makes sense because you mentioned *Malignant*, and I loved *Malignant*. And
I hated *Malignant*.
I think that checks out because these are two movies that, while I think you can make very strong comparisons between them, they approach the subject matter in very different ways. I think *Malignant* leans so much more into the camp in a positive way, while *M3GAN* leads into it and to me at least was a much more cringy way.
I disagree. I actually think that what killed *Malignant* for me is that it felt almost too serious. And then it was like a tonal whiplash for me whenever it was trying to be funny and stupid and silly. It didn't work whenever it tried to do that. And so ultimately, to me, *M3GAN* just going all out for the comedy felt much more natural. It felt more enjoyable. But here's the biggest difference between these films. *M3GAN* was a PG-13 movie that it couldn't go all out for the scares. So they had to make up for it with the comedy. *Malignant* went all out with the scares, and I think that's a little bit why, for me, the comedy didn't work in *Malignant*, and it did work in *M3GAN*.
Yeah, I can see that angle. What I love about *Malignant* is the fact that it's a satire while being exactly what it's satirizing, and I just think that's such a interesting dynamic that it plays with. And *M3GAN*, for me, when the titular doll is on screen, it's great. I love it. I would agree with all the raves. Everything else, though, I think is horrible. I think the acting is very bad. It sucks you out the movie whenever *M3GAN's not there, especially with, I don't know her name, the actress who plays Gemma, and especially the child and the coworkers outside of the boss. The boss, he knew what type of movie he was in. He was playing up to it. But everyone else was so, like, generic, like, exactly what *Malignant* was making fun of, but not, I don't know. I don't know why *Malignant* worked so much and this didn't work for me. I would give this like a solid 6. *Malignant* would be like a strong 7. But I thought *M3GAN* was fun. I also had a horrible theater experience. This is like one of the first times I've seen a movie in like a giant crowd in a while, and everyone talked the whole time, and it was just very annoying and whatnot. The lady behind me was like every time they asked a question on screen, she would answer. It's like *M3GAN* would be like, "Is that okay?" And she's like, "Yes, it's okay." I'm like, "No, shut up." But I don't know.
I hate when people think that they're there to interact with the movie when it's like, no. Just stay home.
I liked the final act. I just felt like the movie took way too long to build to the final act, and the human characters, I don't necessarily need them to be fleshed out. Like, I don't need an elevated horror. I just need them to be more than a caricature. And if you're gonna make them a caricature, at least make them a comedic satire version, like I feel like *Malignant* did with their characters.
See, I come down on exactly the opposite side from you. I really liked all of the actors. I thought that they all really knew what type of movie they were in, but they were playing it with enough seriousness that it felt like earnest. It was very earnest in the way that it approached the humor. It wasn't trying to be postmodern or like poke fun at the viewers. But ultimately, I actually felt like I liked it less when it became a horror movie. I thought that some of the rules of the universe felt like they were broken when *M3GAN* became the killer doll.
Yeah.
Because at first I'm like, okay, I get it. She's protecting the child that she's sworn to protect. But then there were some things where she went out of her way to kill people, and I was like, that just doesn't make sense with your programming or what we know about you. It would make much more sense if, like, what if the child that she was protecting, or speaking of, like, when she said protecting, early on, they're like, you will protect her from any physical or emotional harm. And what if the tiniest emotional harms became like, well, I need to eliminate this threat. But that's not what happened. It just ended up being M3GAN being like, I am going haywire and I'm just going to kill everyone. And that didn't work for me. I thought that the final act, while well executed, it felt ill-constructed in conception. But before that, I mean, I've never been as all in so fast on a movie as when it starts off with like the I had a dog and
I love
died
that part.
and like so good. It just like gets you into the vibe of the movie immediately. It's so stupid, so funny. I think that this works so much better as a comedy than as a horror. And
I can agree with that.
Whenever it goes full into the horror, that's when I think that it's weak. It's the weakest when it's a horror. Ultimately, I would give this a light 8 out of 10, which is much better than... I gave *Malignant* like a 4 out of 10. I really didn't enjoy that movie. But this did it for me. It was... the campiness was really fun. I thought it was very slick looking. And ultimately, it delivered what I wanted, which was some big laughs and a really fun time at the theater. I liked it way more than I expected to.
I echo some stuff you say there. I disagree with some. Like, I love that first commercial scene, and then I just wish the rest of the movie kept that same sense of humor, sense of camp, because it really loses it throughout. And my biggest issues come down to most of the talking scenes and most of the drama scenes, because that's where, like, I hate to keep making the comparison, but it's the same writers and whatnot. *Malignant*, I feel like the drama scenes there work because they're poking fun at themselves, and you can clearly see they're doing it. But here, it feels like, to me, all the drama scenes, you're supposed to be taking them serious. Like, when the... light spoilers, I guess. Like, when the caretaker comes and checks in on the temporary aunt and the child, and some stuff's there, and all the stuff playing with the neighbor and stuff along those lines. All that stuff really just didn't work. But the stuff that really did work were when they did lean into the humor. Like, when M3GAN's able to, like, be kind of serious, but then immediately jump into a joke. Or when they're with the coworkers, and especially the boss. I think the CEO boss, whatever he was. That character knew what type of movie he was in, and he really ate up the scenery. And I just wished more of the movie could have been with that. But I also see that if you made the whole movie like that, you would get the same reactions *Malignant* got, which are very divisive. While this seems to be majority positive, I think M3GAN has some highs, has some lows. My biggest issue is this movie's an hour 50. Easily could have been 90 minutes, and if you cut off some of that, cut off some of that drama scenes and concise it, this is another great horror. And I kind of wish James Wan directed this. I feel like the directing vision was kind of like lackluster. A lot of scenes were just shot like camera wide or camera close, and it wasn't like *Malignant* has the amazing like tracking shots and amazing like 360 spins. Well, I feel like that could have really elevated this. Like, I would have loved for like one of the scenes when M3GAN goes off, without spoilers, but it's in the trailer when she's dancing, and if that whole sequence could have been just like a one long take with like some interesting camera movements, it would have made it a lot more suspenseful, a lot more better. Solid 5. I saw another 2023, I guess, January movie that blows us out of the water, but we'll talk about that one another day. But yes, solid 5 for M3GAN. I would recommend. It's not anything I think it's horrible. I just think it could have been so much better.
But let us know what you guys think about this film. Did you love it? Did you hate it? How would this compare to *Malignant* for you? Are you on Dylan's side or my side? Let us know in the comments. But thank you all for watching. This has been Fantasy Filmball. And as always, my name is Matt.
And my name's Dyl. Have a good night.